A peaceful hospital ship sails through the endless expanse of space, heading toward a distant colony ravaged by a mysterious virus. The crew aboard the ship moves with purpose, their mission clear: to bring relief to those suffering from a deadly illness that has crippled a once thriving colony. The ship is equipped with the most advanced medical technology humanity has ever created. Its sterile corridors echo with the hum of life-saving devices and the calm voices of doctors, nurses, and technicians who work tirelessly to save lives. The crew knows that the work they are about to do will make a difference in the lives of countless people, yet they also understand the risks of venturing so far from Earth. The galaxy is vast and unpredictable. Dangers lurk in the unknown, but the crew is undeterred in their mission to heal and to help. The captain of the hospital ship stands at the helm, looking out into the dark void of space through the large viewports as the ship moves ever closer to its destination. The captain is a seasoned leader known for their calm demeanor and unwavering focus. They know the stakes of this mission and the importance of their work as they monitor the ship's systems and prepare for the arrival at the colony. Their thoughts wander to the people they will soon meet, the faces of those who will depend on them. The thought brings a sense of duty, but also a weight of responsibility. They know they are the last line of defense for the lives of many. But despite the calm atmosphere on board, there is a growing unease in the air, a subtle tension that lingers among the crew members. Though nothing seems out of the ordinary, the crew members sense something wrong. They have been traveling for days without incident. The vast emptiness of space is both peaceful and unnerving. The crew members exchange uneasy glances, but they carry on with their duties, trying to push aside the gnawing feeling of impending danger. The ship moves silently through the void, each passing hour bringing them closer to their destination, and yet the crew remains unaware of the danger that is about to strike. Unknown to the hospital ship and its crew, a fleet of alien ships lies in ambush, hidden in the dense nebula just beyond the ship's path. The alien forces have been watching from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Their motives are unclear, but their intent is unmistakable. They have no desire for peace or diplomacy. They have come to attack and destroy everything in their path. The alien fleet consists of sleek black ships designed for stealth and speed, their advanced weapon systems capable of shredding through the toughest armor with ease. The aliens have been scouting the galaxy, looking for an opportunity to strike, and the hospital ship's vulnerable position is the perfect target. As the hospital ship draws closer to the nebula, the crew remains unaware of the danger lying in wait. Their systems monitor the area for any signs of hostile forces, but the stealth capabilities of the alien ships keep them hidden in the darkness. The crew goes about their tasks unaware that they are being watched by an enemy that has no interest in mercy or compassion. The alien fleet remains silent in the shadows, ready to strike when the time is right. The tension builds as the alien ships prepare to make their move. The hospital ship sails onward, unaware of the impending threat that looms just beyond its reach. Without warning, the silence of space is shattered as the alien fleet emerges from the nebula, their ships materializing like dark specters in the vast emptiness. The hospital ship's sensors blare a warning just moments before the first volley of plasma fire strikes the hull. The sudden violence is a brutal shock to the crew, who had expected nothing but peace. Their training kicks in instantly, but it's too late. The alien ships open fire with relentless precision and destructive power, their weapons piercing the hospital ship's defenses and tearing through its walls with terrifying ease. The crew scrambles to respond, but the alien fleet is too overwhelming. The attack comes in waves, fast and brutal, catching the hospital ship completely off guard. The captain of the hospital ship yells orders over the intercom, directing the crew to emergency stations and initiating evasive maneuvers. But the ship is large, slow, and ill-equipped for combat. Its engines roar as it attempts to dodge the barrage of enemy fire. But the alien ships are faster, their weapons more advanced. The hospital ship's shields flicker and fail under the onslaught, and the crew watches helplessly as the damage spreads across the vessel. Fires break out in multiple sections of the ship, and the once sterile halls now echo with chaos as crew members race to contain the damage and protect the patients in the medical bays. The captain's voice cracks through the comms, urging the crew to hold fast and stay calm. But even they can hear the panic creeping into their words. In the control room, the ship's tactical officer monitors the growing damage with a grim expression. The hospital ship is taking hits from all sides, its systems failing faster than they can be repaired. The medical officers are overwhelmed as patients are moved to emergency areas, and the med bay becomes a battleground as injured crew members and patients alike are rushed to safety. The chaos is unrelenting, and as the ship's life support systems begin to fail, the crew members know that they have little time to act. The alien ships continue their assault without mercy, their fire tearing apart the hospital ship's outer layers and piercing into the vital areas of the vessel. The situation is dire, and the crew must make decisions they never thought they would have to face. The captain orders a distress signal be sent out to Earth as a final hope that help may arrive. But as the signal is transmitted, it becomes clear that the alien ships are jamming all communications. The hospital ship is cut off from the outside world, isolated in the dark void of space, with no one to save them. Their only hope now is to survive long enough to escape the alien assault. But with each passing second, the chances of survival grow slimmer. The enemy forces seem unyielding, their ships moving with terrifying coordination as they press the attack and board the vessel in waves. Their foot soldiers, alien warriors armed with advanced weaponry, storm through the ship's corridors, attacking anyone in their path. The crew fights back, desperately using whatever they can find to defend themselves. But the invaders are ruthless and highly trained, and the human defenders are quickly overwhelmed by the sheer force of the alien assault. Panic begins to spread through the hospital ship's corridors as the reality of the situation sets in. Some crew members try to flee, others rush to barricade themselves in secure rooms. But it's clear that escape is impossible. The crew is trapped inside their own ship, fighting not only for their lives, but for the lives of the patients they came to help. The aliens seem to relish in the chaos as they continue their assault without hesitation or mercy. The captain stands at the bridge, trying to maintain control over a situation that seems to spiral out of hand. With each passing minute, the crew fights valiantly, but they are losing ground quickly. The alien invaders are everywhere, tearing through the hospital ship like a scourge. The sound of blaster fire and explosions echo through the halls as desperate cries for help fill the air. The captain watches helplessly as the damage mounts. With every attack, the ship's systems flicker and fail, and soon it becomes clear that the hospital ship is no longer capable of defending itself. They are completely vulnerable at the mercy of an enemy that knows no compassion. The captain knows they must make a choice. The situation has escalated to the point where saving the ship is no longer a realistic goal. The only option left is to save the crew, and the patients evacuating to the escape pods is the only chance for survival. But the alien forces have already infiltrated the ship, and every escape route has been compromised. There's no safe place left on board, and as the alien invaders continue their relentless assault, the crew begins to feel the weight of impending doom. The captain's mind races for a solution as they issue orders to the remaining crew members to prepare for the worst. In the med bay, the medical officers are overwhelmed with patients and casualties. Alike, the medical staff works frantically to stabilize those in their care. But it's a losing battle. The alien forces have breached the secure sections of the ship, and now there is nowhere to hide. The doctors and nurses do their best to protect the patients they've been entrusted with, but it's clear they cannot hold out much longer. The atmosphere in the med bay is thick with fear and desperation as the staff continues to perform emergency procedures while listening to the sounds of enemy soldiers advancing through the corridors. A young nurse pulls a patient into a nearby storage room, trying to shield them from the violence unfolding just beyond the door. Her hands tremble as she works to stabilize the unconscious patient on a makeshift bed. In the small room, she can hear the alien footsteps growing louder, and she knows it's only a matter of time before they find her and the patient she has sworn to protect. The tension in the room is suffocating, and as the nurse watches the door, her heart pounds with the fear that any moment could be her last. She whispers a prayer under her breath and hopes that somehow help will arrive in time. On the bridge, the captain orders the ship's final distress signal to be sent. It's a last-ditch effort to call for reinforcements from Earth, But the jamming from the alien fleet is too powerful, and the message never reaches its destination. The captain slams a fist onto the console in frustration, their mind racing as they consider their options. They know the hospital ship is lost, and they know that they are alone, but they refuse to give up. They refuse to let the crew die without a fight. With the situation deteriorating rapidly, the captain makes the decision to release the ship's emergency warheads in a final act of defiance. They know it's a long shot, but it's the only option left to slow down the alien forces long enough for the crew to escape. The hospital ship's remaining defensive systems are activated, and the countdown begins to launch the warheads towards the alien fleet. But as the timer ticks down, the captain is faced with the grim reality that there may not be enough time to escape themselves. On the lower decks, the crew members fight to secure their escape routes, moving patients and injured personnel through the maze of corridors in an attempt to find an exit, but every path seems blocked, every escape pod overrun by the alien invaders. The tension in the air is thick with uncertainty, and the crew can feel the weight of each passing second. They know they are running out of time, and they know that if they do not act soon, they will all perish on this ship alone and helpless against the overwhelming might of their attackers. As the captain struggles to maintain control over the deteriorating situation, the sound of explosions echoes through the ship's corridors, sending tremors through the hull. The hospital ship's once calm and sterile environment is now a battlefield, a place where chaos reigns supreme, and the crew fights to survive against an unrelenting enemy. Every moment is critical as the crew tries to organize an evacuation. But it's clear the ship is rapidly becoming unsalvageable. The crew has been reduced to a handful of people making their way through corridors filled with smoke and debris, their faces marked with the determination of those who know they are fighting for their lives. In the med bay, the young nurse still clings to hope as she shields the patient from the enemy soldiers outside, but the sound of boots growing closer fills her with dread. She knows that chances of survival are slim, but she refuses to abandon the patient. She clings to the belief that someone will come for them, that someone will find a way to save them. And as the door shakes under the pressure of the alien forces, she prepares to make her last stand, hoping against all odds that the enemy won't find them before help arrives. The nurse's heart races as she looks around the small room, the few medical supplies left scattered on the floor, and the unconscious patient whose life she has tried so hard to save. She wonders if anyone will ever know the sacrifice she has made. Elsewhere on the ship, the captain orders the final defense measures to be enacted. The remaining crew members take their positions, preparing for the inevitable clash as the alien forces close in. Their ships hover outside the hospital ship's weakened hull, preparing for a final assault that will surely destroy everything the humans have fought for. But the captain is determined to make them pay for every inch of this fight. The remaining crew are prepared to go down fighting, if that's what it takes to ensure that humanity will not be humiliated in the face of an enemy that has underestimated them. The captain looks out the viewports at the dark expanse of space, their mind a whirlwind of thoughts as they realize that even if they fail today, the message will have been sent across the stars. Humanity will not bow to anyone, even in the face of certain death. Their fists clench around the console as the countdown to launch the warheads continues. The alien fleet still approaches, undeterred by the efforts to stop them. But the captain knows that Earth's might is far more than just military strength. It's the will to survive, the determination to defend even those who cannot defend themselves. Back on the lower decks, the crew members continue to struggle through the wreckage of their once pristine ship, their path illuminated by the flickering emergency lights. The tension among them grows as each new corner reveals more obstacles and alien invaders moving swiftly to eliminate any resistance they encounter. But the crew members do not falter. They know what they have to do, and they push forward with a single goal in mind: to survive, to give the patients and the injured a chance to escape, even if it means sacrificing themselves in the process. Every step they take is a step closer to the lifeboats, a fragile hope that somehow they might escape this nightmare. But the aliens are relentless, and they show no mercy as they continue their assault on the ship. As the minutes tick by, the captain realizes that their options are growing slimmer with each passing moment. The enemy has broken through too many defenses, and too much time has been lost. Their thoughts turn to the crew and the people they have sworn to protect. They know the likelihood of success is small, but the choice is clear. They will not let Earth's reputation be tarnished by this attack. They will stand firm against their aggressors, no matter the cost to their own lives. The countdown reaches its final seconds, and the captain closes their eyes for a brief moment, offering a silent prayer before giving the final command to unleash humanity's full might upon the enemy force. The hospital ship trembles as the final countdown reaches its conclusion. The captain's voice echoes through the remaining communication channels, sending the order to release the warheads. The quiet hum of the ship's remaining systems is interrupted by the roar of the warheads launching from their designated bays. The weapons streak toward the alien fleet with an explosive fury. But even as the blasts ripple through the dark void of space, the captain knows the hospital ship's fate has already been sealed. They stand at the edge of finality, but the one hope that remains is that these desperate measures will buy enough time for the crew and patience to escape. The alien forces are caught off guard by the barrage of warheads as they detonate against the approaching alien ships. The explosion rocks the dark void of space, creating waves of debris and shockwaves that ripple through the enemy fleet. The alien ships stagger momentarily as they struggle to regain their balance. But it's not enough. The human forces have shown their full might, and for the first time in the conflict, the alien fleet seems uncertain, hesitant even, but the respite is short-lived. The alien forces quickly regroup and push forward, their ships moving in synchronized patterns as they continue their assault, undeterred by the brief moment of confusion. In the corridors of the hospital ship, the crew fights for every inch of ground they can gain. The alien invaders are relentless, and despite the powerful strike from the warheads, the fight is far from over. The corridors are filled with the sounds of blaster fire, the screams of those who have fallen, and the frantic steps of those who are trying to escape. The hospital ship is falling apart around them, but the crew holds onto a fragile hope that somehow they might make it out alive. Every crew member is putting everything they have into getting the patients to safety, into finding the escape pods, into surviving against the odds. The ship groans under the pressure of continued assaults as more fires erupt across its fractured frame. On the bridge, the captain watches the viewports as the alien fleet regains its position in the distance. Their ships remain steadfast in their approach as they close in on the hospital ship once more. But the captain refuses to back down. Their fists grip the armrests of their command chair as they make the final decision to evacuate the remaining crew members. The order is relayed to every deck as the escape pods are opened and crew members make their way to the ships that will carry them to safety. That time is running out. The alien ships draw closer, and the hospital ship shudders once more as another volley of enemy fire hits its hull. Meanwhile, in the med bay, the young nurse continues to shield her patient from the oncoming chaos. The sound of footsteps getting louder. The alien soldiers are closing in on her position, and yet she does not falter. She stays by the patient's side, her every instinct telling her to keep fighting even if it's hopeless. She pulls a weapon from a nearby shelf and positions herself near the entrance, ready to defend the patient with her life, knowing that this will likely be her final stand. But her resolve is firm. She will not abandon those who depend on her, even in the face of certain death. Outside, the battle rages on as the alien fleet continues its assault, but the tide of the battle is shifting. The arrival of Earth's war fleet is imminent. The captain can feel the pulse of humanity's fighting spirit growing stronger as the moments tick away. The alien forces have underestimated Earth's will to fight, and now they are about to learn the true meaning of humanity's resilience. The captain watches the control screens as their fleet appears on the farthest edges of the system, their warships glinting against the backdrop of space, a massive and undeniable force that will change the course of the battle forever. As the captain orders the final defenses to be deployed, they know that they will soon have help, and with it the power to turn the tables on the alien invaders. As the hospital ship continues to burn in the void of space, the crew's last hopes rise with the arrival of Earth's war fleet. The alien ships hesitate for a fraction of a second as the massive armada of warships materializes in the distance, their dark silhouettes illuminated by distant stars. The warships are a sight to behold, each one brimming with advanced weaponry and defensive systems designed to overwhelm any enemy foolish enough to stand in their way. The alien fleet has never faced anything like this before, and for the first time in the battle, they sense true fear. The tide of the conflict is about to shift in a way the invaders never anticipated. The alien commanders react quickly, but their movements are disorganized as the overwhelming force of Earth's fleet barrels toward them. The warships move in perfect synchronization, their weapons coming online with deadly precision as they lock onto the alien ships and prepare to unleash hell. The alien fleet tries to regroup, but it's too late. The warships open fire with devastating power. Each shot reverberates through space as the alien ships are torn apart. In an instant, the once unshakable invaders now find themselves on the receiving end of a brutal counterattack. The alien vessels are not built to withstand the overwhelming firepower of Earth's warships, and they begin to fall one by one. Back on the hospital ship, the crew watches as the battle unfolds. From the bridge, the captain's eyes lock onto the screen as the first alien ship is torn apart by a blast from a warship's cannon. The alien fleet begins to break apart under the relentless assault. Their once coordinated attacks now turning into a chaotic scramble for survival. But Earth's warships press forward with relentless precision. They move as one unit, surrounding the alien fleet and systematically dismantling it piece by piece. The remaining alien ships try to retreat, but the warships are too fast and too powerful, their weapons cutting through the void with surgical precision as more alien vessels explode into fragments. The hospital ship shudders again as the shockwaves from the battle reverberate through the hull, but the crew can feel the shift in the air. The weight of fear lifts slightly as they realize that their chance of survival is no longer a distant dream. It is a reality. The crew members who had once resigned themselves to death now feel a renewed sense of purpose as they continue their work to evacuate the injured and the patients to the remaining escape pods. Every crew member knows that their fight is far from over, but with the war fleet on their side, the balance has finally shifted. In the medbay, the young nurse continues to hold her ground as the alien forces close in on her position, but now there's a new feeling in the air. It's not just fear, but hope, as the sounds of the alien assault are drowned out by the booming explosions from the warships outside. She knows that the battle is being won, and with it the possibility of escape grows stronger. She checks the vital signs of her patient and whispers a quiet prayer, knowing that she's not alone in the fight anymore. Her eyes dart toward the door as the enemy footsteps begin to fade, and a faint smile flickers on her lips. Despite everything she has endured, she refuses to give up now. On the bridge, the captain feels a surge of relief as the last of the alien ships is obliterated. The once formidable invaders are no more, their fleet reduced to debris, floating aimlessly in the cold expanse of space. Earth's war fleet has proven its might, and the hospital ship has been saved. But there's no time for celebration. The captain remains focused on the task at hand, ensuring that the remaining crew and patients are safely evacuated. The captain gives one final order to initiate the escape pods and watches as the crew members depart the ship, knowing that they've done everything they can to protect humanity and to show the galaxy the true strength of Earth's resolve. With the final escape pods launched, the captain takes a moment to breathe a sigh of relief as the hospital ship's remaining systems power down and the warships begin their final sweep of the area to ensure no threat remains. The battle has been won. The hospital ship has been saved, and Earth has sent a clear message to the universe that no one threatens humanity and survives. The silence that follows the battle is deafening. The hospital ship drifts in the void of space, its once proud hull now battered and broken. The alien fleet has been obliterated, but the cost has been immense. The ship's systems flicker and fail as the last of the escape pods make their way towards safety. The crew who survived the assault are scattered among the pods, each one carrying the weight of what they've endured. The captain stands at the remains of the bridge, watching the last few warships pass by on their way to secure the area, knowing that the battle has been won, but at a price no one could have predicted. On the lower decks, the crew members who had fought tooth and nail to protect the patients now find themselves in the quiet aftermath of a war they never thought they'd be a part of. The wreckage is everywhere, debris litters the floors, and the air is thick with smoke and dust. Some of the crew members are tending to the injured, others are trying to repair what they can. But there's no denying that the hospital ship is no longer functional. Its purpose as a place of healing now a distant memory, replaced by the grim reality of survival. The crew members exchange wary looks, their eyes filled with the weight of the loss, but also with a sense of relief. They have survived, but they know many did not. In the escape pods, the survivors are shaken but alive, each one looking out into the vastness of space, wondering if they will ever truly understand the magnitude of what has just happened. The young nurse who had stayed behind to protect her patient now sits in one of the pods, her hands trembling as she cradles the unconscious patient beside her. She watches the stars outside the small window and wonders if she will ever forget the horrors they endured, if the memory of the battle will ever leave her mind. She looks down at the patient in her arms, knowing that their survival was a miracle, but that there are many others who were not so fortunate. As the pods make their way toward the nearest secure station, the crew members inside begin to speak their minds. Some express their disbelief at what they've just survived. Others are more focused on the future, wondering what Earth will do next, how the war will be remembered, and how they will move on from the trauma they faced. But one thing is clear, the crew has been forever changed by this experience. The nurse who had held on to hope through the worst of it knows that she has seen something that will stay with her for the rest of her life. The captain too carries the weight of the battle with them, knowing that they've led their crew through the darkest of times and emerged victorious, but at what cost? In the distant reaches of space, the warships continue their patrols, ensuring that the alien threat is fully eradicated. The fleet moves with the precision and strength of a unified force, ready to defend Earth against any who would dare threaten it again. The victory is clear, the enemy has been crushed, and the galaxy now knows that Earth is not a target to be taken lightly. But as the warships disappear into the darkness of space, the question remains, what comes next? What will Earth do with this newfound strength? And how will the survivors of this conflict rebuild from the ashes of a battle they never expected to fight? For the crew of the hospital ship, there is no easy answer to that question. The days ahead will be filled with healing, both physical and emotional, as they come to terms with the trauma they've endured and the lives they've lost. But they know one thing for certain: they will carry the memory of the battle with them as a reminder of humanity's resilience and determination in the face of impossible odds. The alien invaders came to Earth expecting an easy conquest, but instead, they found a species that would not be broken, and the galaxy now knows that Earth's might is not to be underestimated. The escape pods drift through the void, carrying the weary survivors towards safety, their minds numbed from the horror they've witnessed and the losses they've endured. The journey feels like a slow passage through time as the pods glide toward a secure station. The only sound within the confined space is the steady hum of the pod's engines and the occasional shift of weight as the survivors adjust to the discomfort of the cramped interior. But even in the silence, there's a sense of unity among the crew members. They have been through hell together and survived, but there's no denying that something fundamental has changed within each of them. As the pods approach the station, the survivors begin to stir, their exhaustion slowly giving way to the realization that they have made out alive. They are safe for now, but the weight of everything that has transpired still lingers. Their thoughts are heavy with the faces of those they've lost, the crew members who did not make it out, the patients who did not survive, and the many others who have been affected by the conflict. The memories of the battle flash before their eyes like vivid snapshots of destruction and chaos. But amid the wreckage, there's a glimmer of hope. They have fought to protect each other and humanity, and in the end they did not fail. The station's docking bay opens to receive the pods, and the survivors are greeted by a small group of medical staff and military personnel waiting to help them offload the survivors. But the moment they step onto solid ground, they are met with an overwhelming wave of emotions. The realization that they have survived is bittersweet, and there's no escaping the trauma they carry with them. Each survivor is treated with care, but the mental scars of what they've experienced are not easily healed. The station becomes a place of refuge, but it also becomes a reminder of the cost of the battle they fought. In the days that follow, the survivors are given medical treatment and psychological support, but it's clear that the healing process will take time. For some, it's a matter of physical recovery, while for others, it's the emotional toll that will take the longest to overcome. The nurse who had fought to protect her patient sits in a quiet room, staring out the window at the distant stars, her mind replaying the chaos she witnessed. The faces of the fallen, her fingers trace the edges of the medical instruments that now sit unused by her side. As she contemplates what the future holds, she knows she will never forget the lives lost, but she also knows that she cannot let the darkness consume her. The captain, too, grapples with the aftermath of the battle. They have led their crew through a war they never expected, and the weight of command hangs heavy on their shoulders. They walk the station's halls with a sense of loss and responsibility, knowing that they will be expected to guide Earth through the aftermath of the invasion. Their thoughts are clouded with questions about the future of humanity. The alien invaders may be defeated, but the scars left by the conflict will remain for a long time to come, and Earth now faces the challenge of rebuilding not only its defenses but its spirit. In the quiet aftermath of the battle, the survivors reflect on the strength of the human spirit, the resilience that carried them through the darkest of times. They were not warriors, they were doctors, nurses, scientists. But when the time came, they fought, not because they had to, but because they could not stand idly by while their home and the lives of those they cared about were threatened. They had seen the horrors of war firsthand, and yet they had fought for survival, for their future, for the future of humanity. As the days pass and the station begins to return to a sense of normalcy, the survivors start to find their place in the world once more, but the memory of the battle and lessons learned will never be far from their minds. They know that the universe is vast and filled with dangers, but they also know that humanity's strength lies not in its weapons or technology, but in the unyielding will to protect those who cannot protect themselves and to fight for what is right, no matter the odds. As the survivors slowly adjust to their new reality on the station, they begin to understand that the fight is far from over. The war may be won, but the scars left behind are not easily healed. The emotional toll of the battle weighs heavily on each of them, their minds haunted by memories of loss and destruction. But despite the trauma they carry, they also carry something else, a deep-seated strength that they never knew they had. They have been tested in ways they never imagined, but they have emerged stronger and more united than ever before. The station becomes a place of recovery, a place where the survivors can begin to rebuild their lives and find a sense of peace again. But it's not without its challenges. For some, the healing process is slow and difficult. The nurse, who had spent so much time fighting to protect her patients, now finds herself facing her own demons. She spends hours in quiet reflection, wrestling with the trauma of what she experienced. But she knows that she cannot stay trapped in the past. She knows that the future still holds possibilities, and that the lessons learned from the battle will shape her path moving forward. The captain, too, is deeply affected by the battle, but they refuse to let the weight of their command crush them. Instead, they channel their pain into determination to ensure that Earth is never caught off guard again. They begin to work with the leadership on the station to plan for the future, to make sure that humanity is prepared for any threat that may come their way. They know that the alien invaders may have been defeated, but there are others out there in the universe who may seek to do the same to Earth, and they will be ready when that time comes. The survivors come together in small groups to share their experiences, to offer support to one another. They understand what the others have gone through, and they know that healing will be a long and difficult journey, but they also know that they are not alone. The bonds forged in the heat of battle are stronger than anything else, and they draw strength from one another as they begin to rebuild their lives. In the months that follow, Earth's military begins to take action to strengthen its defenses and prepare for any future conflicts. They are more united than ever before as a species, and the lessons of the battle are not forgotten. They use the knowledge gained from their victory to build a stronger, more resilient society, one that is ready to face whatever challenges the universe may throw their way. The alien fleet may have been destroyed, but the fight for survival never truly ends. The nurse who had once felt alone in the chaos now finds herself standing alongside her fellow survivors in a new mission to rebuild and protect the future of humanity. She's no longer just a nurse, she's a symbol of the strength and resilience of the human spirit. She looks out over the station, knowing that the battle they fought will never be forgotten, and that their survival is not just a victory for them, but for all of Earth. As the final remnants of the hospital ship are salvaged and sent to be repaired for future missions, the survivors stand together on the station, looking out at the stars, knowing that they have done something extraordinary, something that will change the course of history forever. They have shown the universe that humanity will not be defeated, that Earth will always stand tall, and that no matter how dark the days may get, they will fight with everything they have to protect those they love and the future they hold dear. The battle is over, but the story of humanity's strength and determination will live on as a reminder to the galaxy that Earth is not a place to be underestimated, that when pushed to the edge, humanity will rise up and fight back with an unyielding spirit that will never break.